I have a live stream scheduled for you guys. So I'm sorry you guys have been waiting for this for a while. I apologize. I've been pokey with it, but we finally have some stuff nailed down. Here we go. Hey there, and welcome back to the Minny Weekend. I'm your host, Jack. Let's get into it, Minny. Drink at the podcast. So, shaking it up, I guess shouldn't really even say shaking up. Doing something, doing one we haven't done in a while. Tonight we are going with Liquid Death's Dr. Death. Excuse me. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. Found this in the back of my fridge, and I thought I was holding on to it to have it sometime because we've already had it on the podcast. Come to find out, I looked at our records. We've never had it. So that's why I was holding on to it, because it was the only one I had, and we're going to do it tonight. It's been a while since we've done Liquid Death, so whether you're new or you've been around for a while, but you haven't seen Liquid Death, you may be asking yourself, what is Liquid Death? They are a popular canned water brand known for its heavy metal inspiring branding, featuring skull logos and punk rock aesthetics, and they're kind of branding themselves as a better for you beverage company with waters, iced teas, and sparkling energies. Their kind of catchphrase is murder your thirst, death to plastic bottles. And quick story of how I actually found out about these. So for those that have been around for a while, I don't drink anymore. And in the process of not drinking, one of my friends recommended this company to me. Coming to find out, it was started by two skaters that lived out in California, and they were sober, and they were sick of going to parties where they just had waters or whatever, and people would always be constantly asking them, why don't you drink? And constantly saying, telling their story about, what made them do it. So they were inspired to make a drink that looked like it wasn't just like your typical water or whatever, and would just get people to stop asking those questions. And quite frankly, it's delicious. So, and I kind of like to say, I heard about these and started drinking their beverages before they kind of blew up. So if you go onto their website, just liquiddeath.com, they have all sorts of stuff. So when I started drinking this stuff, all they had was their mountain water. You could get mountain water still or mountain water sparkling. And then the only flavored sparklings that they had were their severed lime, cherry obituary, squeezed to death, mango chainsaw, grapefruit, just like a handful of those new ones. Now they have Dr. Death, which we're doing tonight, which is essentially their version of like Dr. Pepper, Killer Cola. They have Root Beer Wrath, Psycho Cider, Serial Criminal. We still have to try that. Deathberry Inferno and Strawberry Terror, which is really cool. And then I even saw they have sparkling, and then they have iced teas now. They got like Sweet Reaper, Dead Billionaire, Rest in Peach, Blueberry Buzzsaw, Green Guillotine, and then this is new since we've even had the last one. They have their sparkling energies, which they have Scary Strawberry, Tropical Terror, Orange Horror, and Murder Mystery. So we're definitely going to have to try those and get those on the podcast as well. But very, very flavorful. Again, I urge you, I shouldn't say had to learn the hard way, but it's flavored waters. It's mainly water with just a little bit of flavoring. Like imagine getting like your blender bottle of this and with like the squeeze flavoring and just adding a couple of that. That's what it's going to taste like. Because truthfully, I've never been one for like flavored waters, and it kind of took me by surprise that wow, it's very watery and it's just a little. It's not like a soda tasting, but for as much as I love Dr. Pepper, this is really good. This has got to be probably one of my favorite flavors of theirs. And if I'm being completely honest, got to be right up there with their cola. Their cola is unbelievable too if you're a soda drinker. So go check them out. Like I said, you got to go to their website, liquiddeath.com. They have all sorts of merch. You can find out where all of these are sold. There's different places where their teas are sold, from their flavored waters, their sparkling energies, all that kind of stuff. So go check them out. You can learn more about their company. And then they're all over social media as well. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Don't think they're on X, but YouTube as well. So go check them out. You will not be disappointed. I gotta say, I'm gonna go 9-1. Like I said, it's one of my favorites. One of my favorite flavors by them. I really am a big Dr. Pepper fan. For those that have been around when we did the Dr. Pepper cherry, very, very good. So yeah, really like it. 9-1, book it. Let's go. Liquiddeath.com, and go check them out on social media as well. So with that, jumping into Tommy Town here. So since the last podcast, the Tommies went on to split their season series in the Lee and Penny Anderson Arena to the Lake Superior State Lakers. Friday night on the 5th, they dropped a game 3-5 after surrendering 2 goals in the first and third periods. Lucas Van Vliet, Jake Bianchi, and Nathan Pilling all scored for the Tommies, with, very sparkling and very bubbly, with Aaron Trotter stopping 21 shots in this game. Then the night they flipped the script as they won 4-2 with goals, 2 from Lucas Wallen, 1 from Lucas Van Vliet, and 1 from Jake Brianchi. I always butcher his name. I apologize. And then picking up the win in this one was Carson Muser, who actually stopped 26 of 27 shots. So a huge shout out to him for a great effort. And then now they are getting ready for a trip to Marquette, Michigan to take on the Wildcats. Friday night's game on the 12th will be at 6:07, and on the 13th, the second game will be at 5:07. So good luck to them. But the news doesn't stop there. Announced 2 days ago on Monday, Carson Muser and Nathan Pilling earned CCHA weekly honors. Muser, like I mentioned, stepped up when they needed them the most in stopping 27 of 28 shots in their 4-1 win, getting named CCHA Goaltender of the Week, his first weekly honor of his career. And Nathan Pilling also had a breakthrough weekend with 5 points between 2 games against the Lakers and was named CCHA Rookie of the Week. And he has now been named Rookie of the Week for 3 weeks running now. He tallied a pair of multi-point performances with a goal and assist on Friday night's loss and 3 assists on Saturday. So a huge congratulations to both of them, and very much good luck in taking on the Wildcats. And then for the women's team, they this last weekend had a matchup against the Minnesota Golden Gophers and came up short. They lost 3-5 in a close game. In the first one, they were actually, they were tied 1-1, 2, 3-3 before the Gophers would score 2 goals in the last 3 minutes of the game to separate and get the win. And then Saturday night, they lost 1-4 as the Tommies' lone goal was the last goal scored, stopping 4 straight goals from the Golden Gophers. So once again, Gophers right now are currently number 3 in the nation. You know, we talk about it all the time, but it really stinks for the women's team having to play teams like Wisconsin, who's number 1 right now, Minnesota Duluth, who's 5, the Gophers, who are 3, Ohio State, who's 2, St. Cloud State, who's 12. But no doubt in my mind, this team's going to be battle tested, and when they make that jump, it's going to be a big jump for them. And now they're getting ready they're not getting ready. Right now, they are currently on their winter break and have wrapped up for the 2025 section of their 25-26 season here. And they are sitting at an 8-12 overall record with a 3-11-4 record in WCHA play. They will next be in action with an exhibition game in St. Cloud against the St. Cloud State Huskies on January 3rd, before hopping back into WCHA play on January 9th and 10th at home against Bemidji State, hoping for 3 straight games to open up the 26th portion of the season. So I hope they enjoy their rest, and gosh, I myself am getting pretty excited for Christmas as well here. So yeah, that's what we got there. And then for the basketball teams, Nolan Minnesale is still going on a tear. The basketball team was in action just once within this last week as they took on Weber State, picking up and going 1-1 in the Big Sky Summit League Challenge. They were at home and they beat Weber State by a score of 88-65, jumping out to a 47-23 point 47-23 lead into halftime. The Tommies were led by, you guessed it, Nolan Minisale, who had 32 points and added 5 assists, 2 blocks, and 4 steals and a rebound. Nick Janikowski added 14 points. Carter Bierke with 11. Jermaine Coleman with 9. And as a team, they collectively shot about 57% from the floor and 33.3% from three-point range. And then on top of that, they forced 17 turnovers on Weber State. With these last couple teams, since we've been covering them, this is a basketball team that you do not want to turn the ball over against, because they will make you pay, whether it's a fast break layup or an open three going on the other end. So that did not play in Weber State's favor. And then coming up here, they have a game I am so excited and cannot wait to watch tomorrow night. They will take on the St. Johnnies at 7 p.m. at home. And then they will be in action one more time within the next week before the next podcast, as they will travel to Asheville and they will take on the UNC Asheville Bulldogs on Saturday the 13th at 1 p.m. So can't wait to see them beat up on the Johnnies. Man, that's going to be awesome to see. Sorry about that. And then for the women's basketball team, they played earlier tonight, but before we get into that, they were in action. Very similar to the men's team. They went a perfect 2-0 in the Big Sky Summit League Challenge, picking up a win in Montana against the University of Montana, 81-65. But they had a record-setting night earlier tonight, taking on Crown as they defeated them 112-23. They scored a quarter high 37 points in the second quarter and took a 69-11 lead into halftime. I got some other stats I gotta hit you guys with here. So with these they're currently on a 4-game winning streak. They're now sitting at 5-6 overall, and with still having to play conference yet. And the Tommies set records this last Wednesday night. A couple of quick ones. They set D1 era records for steals in a quarter with 14, points in a quarter with 37, like I mentioned, in addition to setting a D1 era record for points in a game at 112. As a team, St. Thomas closed the game with 30 steals, with Autumn McCall and Lydia Alesma each tallying 6 apiece. 8 St. Thomas student athletes scored in double digits Wednesday, led by Michaela Werner's near perfect game. The sophomore scored 14 points while shooting 7 for 7 from the floor. McCall also scored 14 points on the night, while Abby Valens tallied a career high and team leading 7 rebounds. So they really played suffocating defense on this Crown team and were able to come away with a big win. And like I said, are now riding a 4-game winning streak. They have 1, 2, 3 more non-conference games before starting conference play on January 1st, and really hope to propel themselves into a nice battle with the likes of Denver, South Dakota State, North Dakota, and South Dakota. So a huge congratulations to them on their huge night earlier tonight, and we wish them nothing but the best going forward. And then lastly, before we move on from the Tommies, want to give the volleyball team a very quick shout out, as they took number 5 ranked Iowa State to the brink. They won the first set, lost the second set, lost the third set, won a game, fourth set, and then dropped the fifth and final set 15. Really remarkable that they were able to play a really good team like Iowa State Cyclones that close and damn near setting up a game against the Minnesota Gophers in the tournament, which would have been just really cool and just really huge for this Tommy's team. But nonetheless, making that tournament, getting that monkey off their back is going to be amazing for them, and hopefully they can take the next step next year. So a huge congratulations. If any of you guys are listening, this is very much deserving. Keep up the good work. Don't hold your heads on this one, but I thought we'd do a quick update on the FCS playoffs, because the FCS playoffs are now down to the final 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams, and the number 1 seeded North Dakota State Bison have fallen. Yes, you heard that. Illinois State dispatch of North Dakota State 29-28 here. Scoring 15 points in the last quarter. Let's see here. So heading into the fourth quarter, North Dakota State was up 21-14. Early on in the quarter, they got a touchdown to extend the 28-14 lead. And then, holy shit, this is insane. And then with 2 minutes and 44 seconds left, Illinois State scored a touchdown, kicked an extra point to make it 21-28. And then with a minute left, they had scored a touchdown and went for the 2-point conversion and got it, winning the game by a score of 29-28. Like I mentioned, just insane. So there will be a new champion this year. Of the remaining teams, Illinois State, UC Davis, Montana State, number 1, number 7, Stephen F. Austin. And then you have number 3, Montana, number 11, South Dakota, number 4, Tarleton State, and number 12, Villanova. So congratulations and good luck to the rest of those teams going forward. And then the last college football news that we have for you guys, the Gophers, it was announced within this last week that they are getting the Rate Bowl against the New Mexico Lobos. And this will be PJ Fleck's opportunity to continue to go a perfect 7 in bowl games. The game will be played on the day after Christmas, Friday, December 26th at 4:30 p.m. on ESPN. So hopefully they can keep the train going, move to 7-0, and go into next year and try to get a little bit closer to that college playoff here. So yeah, lots of really cool stuff. Now, a lot of you guys might be thinking, all right, Jack, hit us with your Week 16 picks. Well, what a lot of you guys might not know is Week 16 is considered a thing, but it's notorious for the only game played in Week 16 is the rivalry between the Army Black Knights and the Navy Midshipmen. Jack, what does that mean for our bets? Well, here's the thing. We're going to update you guys here. So this last week, our college football picks, we went 2-2, putting us now at 33-22 for the year. But this year, instead of not giving you guys anything from our friends over at Underdog, we are going to hit you guys with a 4-leg parlay to $5 into $47. Yes, you heard that right. So let's just hit you guys with it. So the first leg I got for you guys is Blake Horvath, more than 100.5 passing yards. He is Navy's quarterback. Both of these quarterbacks are, if you look at them, notorious for not having huge arms. For me, this number for him was a little bit too low for my liking. So take the over on this one. The second line is Army's quarterback, Cale Helms, more than 63.5 passing yards. For some of you that might be researching and looking into this as well, he is very much a dual threat quarterback. He currently is their team's leading rusher with over 1,000 yards. Meanwhile, he's only thrown for 504 yards on the season. I definitely think this game is going to be won on the ground, but I expect both of these guys to at least get over those relatively low passing numbers. Both teams are effective on the run, but I think these numbers are relatively low that both of these should hit. The third leg, I like Navy's running back Alex Texa, more than 66.5 rushing yards. No, just like Army, this running back for them is not Navy's leading rusher. It's actually Blake Horvath, their quarterback as well, but he's been known to get it done on the ground for them. So I anticipate, once again, this number just being a little bit too low for my liking. So I like all of these to hit over in this game. And then the fourth and final leg of this parlay, I like Navy minus 3.5. What in the heck? Yes, you guys heard that. If you go into Underdog, they actually now have team bets. The only caveat is you can't parlay and put team bets together. You can only do one team bet per parlay. Navy is clearly, in my opinion, the better team in this one. They're coming in at 9-2, only losing one game in the in their conference, and one of their games came from powerhouse not North Dakota, Notre Dame. And then on the other side, Army just hasn't had a great year. They're sitting at 6-4 with a perfect 500 4-4 record in their conference. So I really like for this to hit. Like I mentioned, Blake Horvath more than 108 passing yards, Cale Helms more than 63.5 passing yards, Alex Tetska more than 66.5 rushing yards, and Navy -3. And this, so that you guys have a reference, you can turn $5 into 47, 10 into 94, and 20 into 190 and $40. Just like I do every single week with our UNRL link. I will put my referral link as well in the captions for this. Put in $5 and you can get up to $75 in bonus bets from Underdog. If you are interested, go do that. It'll be a fun week for this week, and then heading into college football playoffs after this week, starting up with bowl season too. Once again, I'll give you guys my spiel. I am not a financial advisor, so do with these picks what you will. I am not liable for any losses, just like I won't come after you for any wins. Please bet responsibly, and if you think you have a problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER, and they will give you the help and resources and tools you need to get better. That's what we got for our college sports for you guys. And for our good friends over at UNRL. So one of the things, I've actually had some people reach out to me asking me about the NFL Volume 4 release, if I've heard anything on it. And I have actually been hearing that there has been some delays with that. I don't want to make you guys sound stupid, but I think they did mention that on a Facebook or on an Instagram post that they were having some issues with their supplier for the sweatshirts and the material, and it was going to be a little bit later. It sounds like if you got the whiteout edition, when you get the whiteout edition around the same time as when you should be getting Volume 4, if you did get that one as well. Currently, we're rocking our Vikings High Street hoodie, courtesy of the Dublin game. I love this sweatshirt, one of my favorite sweatshirts. One of the coziest ones they got. Still pretty thin, but the material and the fabric on the inside is just so comfortable and so cozy that you just want to nestle up in it and sit on the couch and watch football all day long. So yeah, and then, I mean, you guys, I don't want to bore you guys with everything, but I can talk about this company at length. They are the top of the line in athleisure: sweatshirts, jackets, pullovers, vests, long sleeve hoodies, sweatpants, their Halifax pants, their concourse pants. I wear those bumming around on Saturdays with my kid running errands. I wear them to work. I wear them dressed up. You can wear most of their clothing with anything. Their polos are top notch. Their Condor polos are like a perfect blend between a Henley meets a polo. Super comfortable. And yeah, I can't say enough about them. You guys have to go check them out themselves. Just like Underdog, check out my YouTube in the YouTube description for this, the link to get $15 off your first order. And on top of that, on that first order, you will start to get points that you can redeem on later orders as well. And lastly, yeah, seems like just yesterday we were raving about the 5 drops for NFL and the handful of ones they were going to do for the Vikings here, but their last UNRL and NFL Volume 5, drop number 5, will be a week from yesterday, the 9th, on December 16th. And then after that, the last Vikings Volume 5 drop will be their Legacy Edition drop 2 weeks, the day before New Year's Eve on December 30th. So if you have not gotten anything yet, if you love their stuff, keep your eyes peeled on Instagram and on Facebook as they drop kind of teasers, and you can see kind of a little bit of what it's going to look like and decide if you want to get it or not. So yeah, that's what I got for you guys. Like I said, go check them out. You will not be disappointed. Unreal, UNRL.com. You can find them on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn. Top of the line as far as I'm concerned. And then for everybody that has been hounding me I have a live stream schedule for you guys. So I'm sorry, you guys have been waiting for this for a while. I apologize. I've been pokey with it, but we finally have some stuff nailed down. Here we go. I couldn't be more excited. So, before we get into our professional sports, get into NFL for the week, football, all that fun stuff. Let's hit you guys with our schedule, and I will put everything below here, and I will also post within the next day or two a list of all of what we're hoping to live stream for you guys for the end of our regular season. So first and foremost, the Vikings schedule. We got 4 games left, and we're only going to be doing 2 of the last 4. We're going to do the first one this upcoming Sunday, Sunday Night Football in Dallas, 7:20 game. And then the last one, the date and time are to be determined, but we're going to do the Week 18 picks. And if you're somebody who watches our mini pick'ems sub-series we've been doing with Joe and Joey, we're getting together at Joe's house for whatever day that game's on. And you're not only going to get my live reaction, but you're going to get all 3 of our live reactions watching all of the games on the day that the Vikings are on via Red Zone on one of his TVs and the Vikings game on the other TV. So those are the only 2 games we're going to be doing in the last 4 weeks for the Vikings. Like I said, date and time as soon as I find out for that season-ending Packers game, I will post, so just stay tuned. And then that's what we have for the Vikings. For the Minnesota Wild, our first Wild broadcast will be at the end of the month. It'll be an away game on the 29th, 9 p.m. at the Vegas Golden Knights. And then in January, we got 4 we're going to try to do. The first one, January 8th at Seattle, 9 p.m. January 22nd, 8:30 versus the Detroit Red Wings. 24th at 8 versus the Florida Panthers. And then at Edmonton on the 1st at 9 p.m. And then in February, because of the Olympics, there's only 4 games to choose from. 2 of them don't work for me. So the 2 we're going to do 2 in February, 8 p.m. at Colorado, and then the 27th, 8 p.m. at Utah. I'm looking forward to that game. And then in March, we'll do the 8:30 game on March 3rd against the Tampa Bay Lightning. March 10th, 7 o'clock against the Utah Mammoth. And then March 17th at Chicago, 7:30. And then in April, we'll only be doing 2 games. April 2nd, 7 p.m. Vancouver. And then the very last game of the season for them, the 7 p.m. game at versus the Anaheim Ducks. Weirdly enough, I believe the last game of the season for us last year was a home game against the Ducks, which is kind of crazy. So that's what we're going to do for the Wild. And then last but certainly not least, the Minnesota Timberwolves. So we're going to kick off the season for the Timberwolves in just a week and a half here. First game will be a home game, 8:30 against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then in January, we'll do 3 games. An away game on the 16th, 8:30 Houston. On the 20th, the 20th, 8 o'clock at Utah. And then the 26th, 8:30 versus the Golden State Warriors. And February, we'll be doing 2 as well, 8:30 at Memphis. And then 9 p.m. at the end of the month, the 26th at the LA Clippers. In March, we'll be doing 3 games, 9:30 at the LA Clippers on March 11th, March 13th, hopefully at the Golden State Warriors, 9 p.m. And then the last one in March 25th, 8:30 versus Houston. And then 2 games in April will be on Tuesday, April 7th at Indiana. And then just like the Wild, we'll be doing the last game for the regular season game for the Wolves, 7:30 versus the New Orleans Pelicans, who gave us fits in our back-to-back games with them in New Orleans. So those are the games that we're going to do. We're hoping to do, bearing, nothing crazy happens, with the kids or medical emergencies, any obviously the kind of things like that. But super excited. I'm super glad I was able to knock that out for you guys. So hopefully you can put some of those dates, if not most of them, on your calendar. And we'll have some fun when we do those live streams. I usually, if you ask the people in the past, like to kind of be interactive. So if you guys got questions, turn them. If you have stuff you want us to talk about while we're doing it, or if you guys just want to listen to me yammer on, commentating on the game and doing play-by-play stuff, that works too. So Yeah, onward and upward. I got to be honest with you guys, as far as the Wild and the Wolves are concerned, I didn't have a lot to talk about tonight. The Wild still playing pretty well. Hit a hit a little bit of hit a little bit of a rough patch in their last 5 games, as they're 2-1 in their last 5 games. But that happens. I mean, you go back, since November hit, we have not lost more than 2 games in a row. So, getting, this level of consistency and not losing too many games in a row is going to be key. Coming down the stretch, we essentially have, the rest of December and January before we're going to have a little bit of a break. And I think that break is going to be, kind of the all-star break, so to speak, and kind of a gauge of, okay, where are we? Do we kind of got to turn up the notch, turn up our game level a little bit here? Or do we just have to keep a level of consistency? So, yeah, the team is currently holding steady at third in the Central Division. Colorado's number 1 with 49 points. Dallas is number 2 with 47 points. Then us with our 37 points. And then Chicago, a couple games behind us with 32 points. Just like every other year, Kirill and Boldy are ahead of the team in terms of Kirill has 33 points on 18 goals and 15 assists, and Boldy has 32 points on 16 goals and 16 assists. Other than that, Marcus Johansson is flirting with his 10th goal. And then you got Brock Faber and Joel Eriksson Ek with 6 and 5 goals. And then as far as the points are concerned, you got Marcus Johansson with his 9-21, Joel Eriksson Ek 19 points, Faber 15, Zeev William 13, and Rossi, despite not playing very many games so far, being out with an injury. So again, consistency, getting goals, shorthanded on the power play 5-on-5, and getting them from all 4 lines so that the first line doesn't feel like they got to do literally everything. So yeah, that's the Wild. Next, a couple games for those that are interested that the Wild got coming up. Tomorrow night, the 11th, they'll be hosting Dallas at 7. The 13th, hosting Ottawa at 1. The 14th, hosting the Boston Bruins at 5. And then Tuesday, wrapping up the 4-game homestand with the Capitals in town at 7 p.m. And then as far as the Timberwolves are concerned, kind of the same thing. Not a ton of news to be talked about as far as the Timberwolves are concerned here. I still anticipate them being, or I shouldn't say them, I anticipate Tim Connolly being active in trying to get a point guard to boost us into the next level. I personally would still really like to see us try to go get James Harden without having to give away too much. But again, just like Kevin O'Connell and Quicey, for right now, I trust the guy. He's made 2 big trades within the last couple of years to kind of get us into the position where we've been in, to go get a Rudy Gobert and Mike Conley, and then to go get Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. So I have faith in this guy, and I think he genuinely, with Anthony Edwards at the helm, really wants to win a championship. And, despite not losing, we lost 3 games in a row once this year, but we're holding steady. We're not where we'd like to be. We're 15-9 currently. You'd like to be a little bit better than that, but not everybody can be 23-1. So if they can make something happen, I don't know how likely it is that something will happen trade-wise by Christmas, but definitely by the trade deadline, I would be shocked and appalled if there wasn't a new point guard or wasn't a new guard that can play the point added to our team to help us make that championship push this year. Because in my opinion, it's the Oklahoma City Thunder and everybody else, and I think we're just as good, if not better, than anybody else in the West outside of the Oklahoma City Thunder. So I think a good, solid point guard will do wonders in helping to close that gap. And then just like we did for the Wild, the Wolves have 2 games and another game the night of the next podcast on the 17th. They'll be in Golden State taking on the Warriors 9 p.m. On Friday the 12th. Sunday the 14th, they'll host the Sacramento Kings at 6 p.m. And then Wednesday the 17th, they'll host the Memphis Grizzlies at 7. So that is what the Wolves have on deck. And then for our football NFL segment, I thought we would start with, I'm surprised I haven't brought up this. So for those that do this on a weekly basis, I apologize. I haven't talked about this until literally week 15. But with with 4 weeks left in the regular season, this is how our pick'ems are sitting. We had 28 people sign up this year, so we will go through kind of the top quarter, so like the top 7. So we got Husky Fan, Minnesota's pick 2, holding steady at number 1 with 1,440 points. Lego Lawson second with 1,390 points. Picks 2 in third with 1,370. Husky Fan Minnesota's picks 1 in fourth, 1,200. You guys probably don't want to hear me rattle off numbers. I'll put the thing down here so you guys can see. And really, outside of really between 1 and 8, I mean, there's not a ton of difference. So make those picks. And fifth Jander Nuts picks 1, 6 FFB Creator, 7 Cal's picks. Yes, I let my son do picks this year. He gets to pick the games. All I do is tell him who's playing. And yeah, and then I want to shout myself out. I am in 8th place. I think last year I was pretty dog shit, so thought I'd bring that up. So yeah, that's what we got going into the final 4 weeks. One of the things with us kind of coming to the close of the regular season here that I wanted to do to open up this the NFL was kind of in the hunt and eliminated and everything like that. So right now in the AFC, you got the Broncos at number 1, Patriots at number 2, Jags number 3, Steelers number 4, and Broncos 11-2, Patriots 11-2, Jags 9-4, Steelers 7-6. And then the Chargers in the 5th spot with a 9-4 record, Bills 9-4 in the 6th spot, and then the Texans 8-5 in the 7th spot. And then in the AFC, there's only 4 teams that have been mathematically eliminated: the Titans, the Raiders, the Browns, and the Jets. So really, you got 7, and nobody going into this week has clinched a playoff spot. So really, you got 12 teams vying for 7 spots. And then at the NFC, it's a little bit of a tighter race. You got the Rams in number 1 with their 10-3 record, Packers number 2, 9-3-1, Eagles number 3 with an 8-5 record, Buccaneers 4 with 7 at 7-6, Seahawks 5 with a 10-3 record, 49ers 6th 9-4, and Bears 7th with a 9-4 record. And in the NFC, there are 5 teams eliminated, meaning you have 11 teams now vying for 7 spots. The teams already mathematically eliminated: Giants, Commanders, Saints, Cardinals, Falcons. So really you got 11 teams vying for 7 spots here, which kind of leads into our one and only question we got this week. And it came from Celia Walsh-01E. And she said, what needs to happen for the Vikings to get into the playoffs? I've talked about this a couple of times, and I kind of have the impression that we're not making the playoffs, even though we're not mathematically eliminated. We currently have a 1% chance to make the playoffs. Before we get into that, there are only 3 teams that can clinch a playoff spot this week. And it's the Denver Broncos, the New England Patriots, and the Los Angeles Rams. And all 3 of them can simply get in just by winning their playoff berth. The New England Patriots can clinch the AFC division title if they win, because they're playing the Buffalo Bills, but they can also clinch a playoff berth with a tie and losses from, I'm not going to get into all the extra stuff. And then the Rams, simply put, they just have to beat the Lions and they're in. So there's only 3 teams out of 14 total that can be clinched this week. The Vikings, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Miami Dolphins, and the Kansas City Chiefs can all get eliminated this week. And simply put, if we lose, we're mathematically eliminated. Who else did I say? Cincy is eliminated from AFC North title contention and playoff contention if they lose or if they tie and Pittsburgh wins. Miami, they need help. It's just not that simple. And then, I'm not kidding you, I'm looking at, there's 33 instances that can happen, that Kansas City can get eliminated. All of them, there is a common denominator. They just need to lose. So the simplest one, I'll tell you guys, they need to lose. Buffalo needs to win or tie. Jacksonville needs to win or tie. And Houston needs to win or tie. All three of those other games could very well happen. So they could be very much eliminated after this week, which would be amazing for everything that I predicted so far. So that's what I kind of wanted to get into. So Celia, to answer your question, what needs to happen? So let's just break this down. Like the easiest way to break it down is we need to win out and we need help. So what does that look like? The Vikings need to win our next four, number one. The Bears need to lose out, so they need to go 0-4. The Lions need to lose 3 of their last 4, but beat the Bears. The Panthers need to lose 2 of their games, and the Cowboys need to lose to us this upcoming week and then 1 extra game. So with that, you might have heard and might be thinking, what the heck? The Bears need to lose out. So we play Sunday Night Football. So there is an instance where before we even play our Week 15 game, we could be mathematically eliminated. If the Bears win and beat the Cleveland Browns, we're out of the playoff race. Even if we end up winning our game, that's just how the cookie's going to crumble. And I don't think that's a terrible thing to happen. But so now we can break it down even a little bit more. All of these things are coupled with Vikings wins. 1% chance of making it. If the Browns beat the Bears in week 15, our chances go up to 2%. If that happens, and then if the Rams beat the Lions, it goes up to 3%. The help we would need in week 16, we would need the Packers to beat the Bears, the Steelers to beat the Lions. And then in week 17, we would need the Commanders to beat the Cowboys, the Seahawks to beat the Panthers, and the 49ers to beat the Bears. Then in week 18, we would need the Lions to beat the Bears. So essentially, putting a bow on the top of it, this is how it would have to happen. We would have to win out and finish 9-8. The Bears would have to lose out and finish 9-8. The Lions would finish 9-8 with their only remaining win coming against the Bears. Cowboys would lose 2 more games, including the Vikings game. And the South runner-up Panthers or Bucks need to finish 9-8 or worse. And then it says here, if the 7th seed is up for grab between the Vikings, Lions, and Bears, the tiebreaker would be decided by the best record in head-to-head games. Minnesota would be 2-2. The Lions would be 1-3. And the Bears would be 2-2. So again, is it possible? Yes, it's possible. But again, I said it last week and I'll stand by it. I am somebody that if you control your own destiny, great. If you need help, not worth looking at what you need help with because you're not focusing at the task at hand. So yeah, that's what I got for you, Celia. So once again, I'm sure you really want us to make the playoffs. I would love for that to happen. But if I'm being completely honest, if we make the playoffs as a 7th seed, we're going to have to go up against, who is it, like the Rams or the Eagles. And even if we get hot and can win out the last 5 games here, I don't like our chances of even winning a playoff game. So that's unfortunately how I got the cookie crumbling in this one. So spending a lot of time dissecting that, why don't we just get right into all of our bets and all the fun stuff for week 15. Coming into week 15 for our weekly picks, we went 1-2 last week with our only win coming from our upset from the Bengals. We're now sitting at 25-20 for the year. And how I like this going this week for my lock, I like the Chicago Bears -7 over the Browns. Unfortunately, Shedeur Sanders tried to prove head-to-head with Ward that he's the best rookie QB in his class, despite being the 5th round pick. But now he faces a legit number 1 overall pick from the 24 draft class. Williams was upset by a late interception in Green Bay and will be ready to make amends at home nonetheless. Yeah, surprisingly, this Cleveland defense is a lot better at home than they are away. Money-wise and trying to maximize my earnings, I would like to see the Chicago Bears beat the Browns by 7. This is a game I would not be upset to see the Browns win, for a couple of the reasons we just talked about. And then the upset that I'm still trying to wrap my head around, I understand it's an away game for them, but I like the Commanders +2.5 over the Giants. Look, I know Jackson Dart is going to be playing in this game, and I think he is going to be the long-term quarterback of the future for the Giants, but The Commanders, Marcus Mariota has already proven that he can win games and be a solid, credible backup quarterback. The Giants are the Giants. Both of these teams, it's going to be a tough one to watch as both of them are eliminated from playoff contention and are essentially fighting for draft position. But I really do think the Commanders are the better all-around team here and should win this game just outright, not just cover the points. And then in the Minnesota Vikings game, I like taking the Vikings +6 in this one. No, I don't think we're going to win this game, but I think between JJ McCarthy and Kevin O'Connell simplifying that offensive playbook, between our defense just being just a dog, getting after quarterbacks, deflecting passes. I mean, these last couple of games, our defense has just looked amazing. I think they're going to do a great job of keeping it close and keep it like a 3 to 5 point game. So again, reiterating my point, I do not see us winning this game, but I do think our defense and our offense is capable and will keep it a close game. Jack, why do you really think the Cowboys are going to win this game? I think the Cowboys will be more motivated than us because I think at this point we're motivated by let's develop JJ. We just need to see baby steps going forward in each of these games. And even if we lose a game or two, as long as he's not throwing 4 interceptions, you kind of get those baby steps of he's developing the way we want him to, and he's making the steps to get to be the quarterback that we want him to be. Whereas the Cowboys are still right in the thick of things. They have a 2-game lead or a 1.5 game lead on us for playoff, and they have a legitimate chance with how Philadelphia has been playing even at the division at this point still. So I just think they're going to win because they have more to play for despite their defense kind of being inconsistent most of the year. So then wrapping up here for our Week 15 Sunday Night Football matchup in Dallas against the Cowboys. Like I said, I got us losing this one. I think it'll be a high-scoring affair here. I got us losing 30-34, like I mentioned. I think on the offensive side of things, I think J.J. McCarthy is going to have another solid game. I think he'll throw for at least 2 touchdowns, could be 3 or 4. But I think at the bare minimum, he throws for at least 2 touchdowns in this game after having an improved game last week. And now he knows what he needs to do to be successful. And then my defensive one is a little bit different because Dallas's defense has been getting after it. I think our defense and Dallas's defense are going to combine for at least 7 sacks. So, no, it sounds a little bit different, and kind of that was kind of something I was going for here. So, like I said, recap, Vikings officially being eliminated from playoff contention, losing regardless of what happens in Chicago earlier in the day. I think we're going to lose 30-34. J.J. McCarthy throws for at least 2 touchdowns, and between our defense and the Dallas defense, I think we combine for at least 7 sacks minimum. And then wrapping up the very end of the podcast here, other bets did really well last week, went 4-1 for the second straight week, sitting now at 28-16 for the year. First one I like right now with what I thought was going to happen, 30-34. The Vikings Cowboys game is sitting at 47.5, so I like the Cowboys Vikings to go over that. I like the Eagles as 11.5 point favorites over the Raiders. If I'm being completely honest, I know I picked the Raiders in my pick'ems. Technically, I didn't. It got switched for me. They couldn't ask for a better bounce back game against the Raiders at home. I think the 49ers as 12.5 points favorites over the Titans. I think they're going to absolutely throttle them. I anticipate the Lions-Cowboys game being a shootout as well, going over 55.5 points. Saints-Panthers game should be a fun one. I think that I like the Panthers and Saints to go under 40.5 points, but I also like the Panthers as 2.5 point favorites in that game to keep their playoff hopes alive as well. So yeah, in conclusion, Cowboys Vikings over 47.5, Eagles minus 11.5 point favorites, 49ers 12.5 point favorites, Lions Cowboys over 55.5 points, and Saints Panthers under 40.5 points, and Panthers minus 2.5. As always, make sure you go subscribe to our YouTube channel to get notified as soon as the episode drops. Make sure you subscribe to wherever you listen to the podcast, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to your podcast. Make sure you go follow us on TikTok, Instagram, X, Facebook to get notified of all of our posts and all the news from over here. And lastly, make sure you reach out if you have any comments, questions, or topics you want us to address. And we would love to hear from you guys in and want to know what you guys want talked about on this podcast, as this podcast is for you guys. Until next time, Minnie.